In the shocker of the century, the futile, mathematically guaranteed to flop impeachment effort has failed.
Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the first article of impeachment. 2/3 of the senators present not having pronounced him guilty, the Senate adjudges that respondent Donald John Trump, President of the United States, is not guilty as charged in the second article of impeachment.
I'll keep this short because not only did I predict the result, I also predicted a fair bit of the fucking aftermath in a series of rants from fall of last year. Feel free to go back and watch that shit for ready extrapolation, because at this point I'm far more interested in who voted how here, what led the party to what on pre-ripped paper appears a disastrous course from which they'll need many a year to recover, just ask the Republicans after 1998, and where the DNC pivots to now that they failed this fucking hard. And I'll say this on the first point. From Kirsten Sinema, who a fair few phony conservatives were slobbering over on Twitter during last night's speech, but fell mighty silent, I noticed, when she cast an impeachment vote today, to the only Mormon whose second M is silent, Mitt Romney, turns out nothing draws out the fake as fuck middle of the rotors quite like an impeachment vote. And think about it, folks, it's no secret why. Behind closed doors, Sinema can slather on the clown paint and taper Trotsky crank down enough to pass for fucking rational, but all the focus groups and coaching in the world won't change that when the cameras roll and it actually comes down to nut-cutting time, ain't no wiggle room, ain't no spin cycle. It's yay or goddamn nay. And Sinema came out of the commie closet and voted yay. That's why they stole the Senate election for you fucking retards. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say it was stolen? Clearly, the magic mail-in ballots that overwhelmingly went for our Trump-supporting governor also just happened to break 88% for Sinema, even though on election night, McSally was 2 points ahead with 99% of all precincts reporting. No, that was a truly organic effort from Arizona voters. Largely deceased ones, but still waiting on that fucking fraud investigation, by the way, Trump. Either way, when conservative Twitter were working their wank shafts like a penile socket wrench at the prospect of a Democrat giving Trump a standing O last night, I do believe I told ya fucking so! And holy underpants, how's about that Mitt McRomney, hailed by brainlets for his bipartisanship in crossing the aisle to betray both his president and his voters. Hey, look, I get it. Mitt's Mormon as fuck. His decision was clearly religious in nature. After all, not nearly enough people give Judas Iscariot credit for turning the 12 disciples into a truly bipartisan endeavor. How is dying of a brain tumor like the one thing Romney didn't decide to steal from John McCain? There are really only two schools of thought as to how Democrats ended up at this apocalyptic impasse. The former alleges they've simply sauntered so far down socialism boulevard they are sincerely so detached from reality at this point they actually pulled this shit out of principle and genuine spite. The latter, a more conspiratorial assertion that I articulated in an earlier video, that Pelosi merely wanted to threaten impeachment to get Trump to back off the Biden investigation, back when he was still the fucking frontrunner, and by formally opening a query into Hunter Bazooka Joe in the fucking Ukraine, the Dawn forced her hand. Trump provided the kindling, while the ascendant commie class of the AOCs and Ilons gave him the fucking Zippo, and voila! The DNC went up like RuPaul's weave at a fireworks show. Now, while I think there's a granule of truth in the latter, namely the failed attempt to back Trump off the Biden corruption thread, the more we watch the Wicked Witch of the Eastern Bloc bloviate and melt the fuck down, ripping up pre-shredded speech pages in a planned fucking photo op at the State of the Union and shit, the more convinced I become it may actually be the former, which is staggering to me on several levels. I mean, first and foremost, because Pelosi made this same mistake last time she was House Speaker, and it lost the Democrats the House, Senate, and ultimately the fucking presidency. What kind of Fidel feedback loop are you caught in, bitch? It's like Groundhog Day for dipshits. As for the final query, that's where it gets downright dire for the Dems. See, there's really only one path open to the outgoing party at this point, and that's to awkwardly jeter this failed fucking impeachment proceeding into an implicit innuendo-laden indictment against supposed corruption in the Senate for covering him up, and using that as a wedge to greater gains in both houses, I suppose. And look, before you balk, It's already sort of started. Hell, we were halfway there before the fucking articles were even delivered to the Senate, with astroturfed hashtags on the Twitter sphere such as impeachment sham and shit. Mark my motherfucking words, folks. Over the coming year, you'll hear House and Senate GOP described as everything from Gilgamesh to the gay mafia. And if that's the apparent play here, strangely enough, the Brigham Young backstabber himself, Mitt Romney, may have unwittingly inoculated his own party to these accusations merely by voting to impeach, because the mafia reign of terror narrative is sort of a hard sell when big pussies down at a street corner saying we should whack Tony Soprano. Either way, friends, countrymen, cunts, Alexa, who's still the President of the United States?
The United States President is Donald Trump.
I'm Razor Fist. God fucking speed.
I tell you why. You know I'm holy. So fucking holy. Raise your hand. You know I'm holy. Out square. Slash his throat. Every fucking Republican. Suck my fucking balls.
Say that one more time.
Slash Republican throats. Slash fascist throats. Death to fashion.
Have a good one.
What that person on your tape has is a medical disorder.